Hello everyone, Michelle here from the Creative Cove. Thanks for joining me today. Today we'll be painting some fun little watercolors. I did a video a little while ago on some roses in this very loose approach. This time I'm going to do it with some kind of small little wildflowers. I'm dying for spring here in Ontario. It's been so much snow and it's just starting to warm up, so it's been a bit of a motivator. I'm just using some ink all over my watercolor pad, and I no longer have the cover to this watercolor pad. I believe it is a pretty cheap watercolor pad, not the high quality stuff, so this is a great exercise for cheapy watercolor. So I sprinkled some water over top of the ink and then let it sit for about 5 seconds and then absorb it up with just a rag, and you can see it creates these really beautiful textures on the ink itself. It kind of gives a fun muted background. It's a great exercise to do if you find white paper a little bit overwhelming. See all the beauty it creates there? I love that. So I'm using this Mei Liang paint set here, and I'm using two brushes. So I have a nice delicate, I think it's a number 2 watercolor brush, and then I have a very rough beaten up watercolor. Well, it's not even a watercolor brush. I think it's an old oil painting brush. And I'm just mixing a green. I'm not going to tell you what colors I use because everybody's got their own set of colors. I like to work with like an olivey green. It's the color that appeals to me the most, but you might like a lime green or a bright green. So you just mix the greens you like. And I started thinking, oh, I'm just going to paint the stem, and then I thought, well, let's do something a little different. So I grabbed a ruler. I couldn't find my mixing palette knife, so I thought, okay, well, a ruler will work, I guess, this metal ruler. And I just dunking it in, and I'm making these marks that kind of mimic stems and leaves. And they're very rough, loose approach is the idea today behind these little flowers. So use whatever you've got, you know. It's really fun to experiment with different materials. So here I am with the watercolor brush, and I'm just going to paint some leaves in. And I change this later as well. As the video progresses, I use the ruler to create the lines. I can't remember if I filmed it when I did find the palette knife. We'll see later if I use the palette knife to create it. So this time I'm using the actual watercolor brush to paint the leaves, but later I use just whatever I can find to mimic leaves, which is also really fun. So here I'm using that really rough brush with some blue. And you can see I pushed down really hard in the center of that paint to kind of open the bristles. I hope I zoom in after and show you a closer upper of that brush. And then I just wet my watercolor brush and dilute those out so that it draws the paint with the water and creates these very loose effects. I'm just redabbing the center there to saturate the middle, and then I'm just going to roll and pull my brush to create these kind of delicate leaves. It's really fun to do, and you can create flowers looking in different directions. You know, they can be facing down, they can be just opening up, they could be really big, really small. It's a really fun technique to try. So again, just rolling and moving that paint with water to create these little tiny flowers. So that one I feel like I had way too much paint on there, and I didn't want the whole flower just this dark blue. The idea is to create a translucency and wash with the petals so that it looks like light is hitting them in different areas, and they're very thin petals, you know, brand new spring-like petals. It's a really fun technique. So I'm going to do some more here. This time I'm mixing up the inks with some ink and oxide, different colors. Again, just using up whatever inks you might have. You don't have to do this either. It's just, I just wanted to tone down and kind of vintage up the paper just for the look I wanted in a journal I'm working on. And I'm mixing the two inks. Well, one is an ink and one is an oxide, and I'm just mixing them together. And I'm going to repeat that process with the water. Okay, so I've mixed up some more green. I'm going to use my ruler here, and I'm going to start creating some leaves and stems. I'm going to make two size plants here. Unfortunately, I'm out of frame there a little bit. This is the new setup for me with this little desk. And it is so tiny, this desk, that I can barely fit the tripod for the camera and all my stuff on there. I'm learning as I go. So now I'm going to create these kind of blue-violet ones again. I really like the blue. It speaks to me the most. And what's really nice about this is the dark oxide color behind the blue flowers really kind of warms up the blue even more and creates this really lovely old vintage vibe, which is what I was after. It's just so much fun. It's very relaxing. And if you're new to watercolors, it's a great exercise because it really shows you how paint reacts to the water, sorry, to the paper that you're using, by how much water you're using, and a great way to experiment with tools. So lots of fun. Hope you give it a try. Okay, so here we are. I've cut the paper up. I have this journal that I had mentioned before that I'm working on. It's a little portable watercolor journal. It's going to have some finished works in it as well as some blank watercolor pages for sketching and stuff. And it's just using up my scraps, which has been my challenge since I've been away for a little while, trying to get my studio organized and under control, which is a constant battle. And here's the little cover piece I wanted to put on. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it gives you a little inspiration to give watercolors a try, mix them with the inks, mixed media, whatever it is. Let your products speak to you and use them in a fun way. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this gave you some inspiration, and have a great day, everyone. Take care. Bye.